Hey everyone, Sam here. So today I'm going to show you how to put together my new 6x6 circular diorama set. This is so much fun. If you had the square version that I released probably over a year ago now, it was very popular, then you're going to really enjoy this one because we've got obviously the new shape and there are some coordinating frames as well. This works nicely on its own. You don't have to use it with this, but they do coordinate perfectly, and I'm using one of those here. But I'm going to make sure I feature all of my 3 new stamp and die sets. So this one I'm going to start off using the new Rooting for You. Very fun. And I'm going to be using the carrots. The faces are optional, and you've got the little legs if you're stamping them directly onto a card. For example, this one here, you can see the arms and the legs and the faces if you want to bring them to life and add a bit of character to them. Otherwise, you can just keep them plain as well. So in that set there, you get 4 dies. Okay, so you've got your main plate. All of these dies will go through a standard die machine. So I've cut this one first of all using 300 GSM smooth, but you can use a lighter weight if you want, like a 220 is going to be fine. And then I've used the big circle here, and I've cut it once in cardstock, and then again this is a light green card, and then I've inked it up with some distress inks, and then I've spritzed it with, I think it was the Twisted Citron, yes it was, over the top there, and that's with the Rustic Wilderness behind. So 2 optional, it does obviously make it nice and strong, and then I'll probably do a smaller circle on the back using one of the dies from this set here, and then I can stamp and write my message. So get that all ready, and then you've got your disc here, so this can go on top, again optional. You might want to keep, you know, this shape. Again, there's quite a few different ways to use this, which you'll see across all the tutorials, but you'll see how that sits over the top. So I've cut that twice and stuck it together, and I've got my ring there. That's all of those dies, and then you've got your bars here. So I've cut mine in acetate. Probably can't really see them there, but you'll see them when I start to put it together. It cuts 3 at a time, so you can see you've got 3 rows. So if you run that through 3 times, then you'll have 9 bars if you want to fill it with all 9. I don't need to use all 9, so I've just run that through a couple of times. And then with this one here, I've just used the smallest circle die, which is this one here, with the largest of the zigzag one there. You get all these stitch dies as well to go in between the layers. And then you've got some fun words as well: fruity, scrumptious, glam squad, yummy, fit check, tasty, friends. These will work great with my past big words and all the sentiments that I've got, but also with other things that you've got in your stash as well. And they do coordinate with the 3 stamp and die sets. So to put it together, it's very easy. If you've already got my square one, then you'll know exactly what to do. But when you've run this through, you want to create mountain folds on those fast folds there, and then you just want a concertina fold back. So you've got your mountain, then you're going to have a valley, mountain, valley, mountain, valley, mountain. You want to make sure that all of the score lines where you've got the little slots, they're all valley folds. Okay, so you can see there how that looks, and then the last one should fold in because that's how you're going to attach it, and then just do the same on the other side, and you'll see that will all fold down like so. And that's the dimension that the card will give you internally. Obviously what you decorate on the front is going to be different for everyone, but that is the thickness of the card if you keep the front flat as well. So next I'm going to stick this on. I think it's easier to stick the frame on first and then stick it onto the bigger circle, because you can use this frame to line it up to make sure it's all straight. So you can see how nice this looks with the frame on it, like so. Now, if you want to put some acetate behind this, you can turn it into a shaker, cut another one of these rings, put your acetate in between, your shaker elements, snow acetate. There's, again, lots of things. I think this is why it's so popular. Dioramas in general are popular style cards anyway. Anything that you kind of build a scene is always popular, and the fact that you can turn this into a shaker and add it onto other things is really good as well. I'm just going to take a little glue and attach this one first. And next I'm going to add my glue onto this section here. I'm going to use the construction glue, so just make everything nice and strong, and then you just want to line this up with that inner circle. Now this here you could add inside my 3D stand and display card, and then you can have lots of elements, you know, floating around. It'd be good for a space card. You can add moving elements into this. So you could use my turn and reveal and have things popping out the top, so like an underwater scene. My penny slider die sets, there's so many past sets that are going to work really nicely with this, and I'll share a lot of those on my Friday mix and matches. So make sure you're subscribed also to my Muckers Assemble YouTube channel, and that's where I share all my live crafting. So we go live on a Wednesday and on a Friday, and you'll find all the information over there. Okay, so now we can stick this onto this section here, but before you do that, you might find it easier to add your bars, but you could also add them when it is together as well. They are easy to thread through. So I'll put one through now just to show you before. I'll probably add the rest of mine after. All you want to do with each one is only at one end, is just fold the little T shape. You want to fold that in so it makes it all one width, and then you can slot these through any section you want. So I think for the front one I'm going to go right through the middle. So you just pop it through like so, and as you pull it through it will then stop, and then you want to just match it up with the same one on the other side, and then just open it up on the other side, and now that is perfectly lined up. When that's folded flat, and you see how that's just suspended there, and it just keeps everything in shape there. So I'm just going to leave that one in just to show you that's how you do it before, but now I'm going to stick this down onto here. Now I'm going to use the construction glue, I think, because this has got a bit of a coating on it now with the spritzes. So this is going to, I know that this will definitely stick because it's solvent based. My quick grab glue is water based, and I think it would just take a bit longer. And then just keep those folded down like this. And then all you got to do is line up this circle with the one underneath. So it's a lot easier. And just hold that there for a minute until that's dry. There is your circle diorama. Now this, again, you could stick onto the front of a card blank. So I've got one here, for example. You could pop it onto a 6x6 if you wanted to. This is a 6x8, but you might want to stick it more towards the bottom, have a sentiment or something stuck there. What I'm going to do, because I want to keep this as the card, is I'm going to use this piece here with my original largest circle die. So this is just a piece of A4 folded in half, and you want to pop your circle die down, and you want it to overhang the edge where you've got your fold. I'm just going to place that down. I'm just going to run that through my machine. So now that is cut through, but it's kept the top attached. So now I've got a circle card blank. So I want to stick this onto here. Now if you want to turn this into a rocker card, which is something else you can do with this, you can see there, you can have it rocking, you can have things popping out the top of this, and you need to balance all the decoration. But I need this to land, I just want it to stay upright, but I don't want to take away from the circular, shape. So with the back section, open up the card, and on the bottom here of the inside piece, I'm just going to use my score line here and just line it up with one of the tracks. Just bring it down a little bit, just keep it in line with that there. You only want to take a little bit off, just see there, just the tiniest piece, but now that will keep the card from rocking. But from the front, it all still looks like it's a full circle. So I'm going to add my glue now onto the back of this piece, and then I'm going to place it down, and then I'm going to open it up before that glue's dry, because I want to make sure now that it's straight. So I can just turn this around until that bar is nice and level. And there we go. So it all folds down. That will go in a 6x6 envelope. You can see the dimension there, and then they can open it up. Got all your space there. If you want to have it as a side opening, then you would just cut a little bit off this bottom section here if you want it to open up that way. But now that stands up and it looks like it's floating, the way it's kind of slightly lifted as well, but that is now all ready for us to decorate. So I've cut lots of carrots. I'm going to have a few of them, I think, on the front, and then I'm going to have them all just floating on different acetate bars inside. And then I've got the sentiment from that set, because it's a stamp and die set. So you can see all your different sentiments there, and this one says, have a 24 carat birthday. So I've heat embossed it in gold and backed it with a bit of a gold frame there. I might have that actually in the middle and then have all the carats around it. You can see there, you can keep that, how that looks in the middle there, or I may have it down here. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to have a play around, get it all stuck down, and then I'll show you it at the end. So there's the finished card. How cool does that look? You imagine as a underwater space theme, a pond, anything where you're kind of looking down or into it, because you've got all the different levels. So we've got this one here that's stuck on the very back, and then this one's stuck on the back strap, and then these three are on the middle sections, and then the sentiment is on the front one. And then I just added some more on the front there, and then open it up, and inside you've got your space for your message. And then because of that little piece that we've cut off, it just means it will stand up nice and straight, so it displays really nicely. And then it all folds down. Like I said, that will go into a bouncy envelope. You probably still get it in a normal envelope as well, or pop it in a nice box envelope. I've got 6x6 box envelopes. You could use the circle dies to cut out an aperture and put some acetate behind it, so it's more of like a display box as well. That would look really nice. So I hope you've enjoyed this first tutorial using my new 6x6 Circle Diorama set. Absolutely love this, and I've got some really fun other styles to share with you. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on those. Keep an eye on that playlist because that's where I'll be adding all of the tutorials using this set, and you can find all of the product. It'll be linked below, or you can just head over to Craft World and you'll see it all there under the Made to Surprise tab. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.